Good evening, everyone. I think we're ready to get started. So I'll remind you to silence all your electronic devices at this time and to secure them on your person for the duration of the ceremony. Thank you. Please rise for the processional. Please remain standing for the presentation of our colors.
Post. Present. Order.
Thank you to the NHTI Student Veterans Club for presenting our colors and for your service to our country. You may be seated. I'm Alan Blake. I'm the Director of Communications at NHTI and your Master of Ceremonies for this evening. On behalf of the college, welcome to the investiture of the 5th President of NHTI, Concord's Community College. To all the faculty, staff, students, and alumni in attendance, thank you for demonstrating your continued commitment to NHTI community by your presence here tonight. And to our community leaders, family and friends, and members of the general public, the community we serve, thank you for being part of this official acceptance of our new leader into the college. And to our friends at Sugar River Bank, represented by President Mark Pitkin and his colleagues, and Follett Corporation, represented by our bookstore manager, Joanne Gandy, thank you for your generous support in making this event possible. Dr. Susan B. Dunton, the 5th president of NHTI, joined us on July 1st of 2014. She has since taken on the duties with vigor, focus, and compassion. Dr. Dunton immediately immersed herself in the rhythm and the culture of the college and has quickly established her presence on the campus and in the community. She's exhibited a commitment to the college that is worthy of our rich history, even as we celebrate our 50th anniversary. Yet even though Dr. Dunton has been with us for 14 months, it is tradition in academia to formally transition college presidents. It is in keeping with that tradition that we are gathered here tonight as one body to formally accept Dr. Dunton into our fold. Dr. Dunton believes that in keeping with the culture at NHTI, this ceremony is less about an individual and more about the college as a whole. Therefore, we have adopted a format for this evening that involves representatives from the many constituencies served by Dr. Dunton and by the college. We will be calling forth these representatives individually to each make a call to service related to their constituency, and President Dunton will address each of these calls. The calls to service will be followed by the formal investiture. So to begin our call to service, representing past professional associations, friends, and family, I invite to the podium Dr. Cynthia Forrest, Vice President for Student Affairs at the University of New England, who currently resides in York, Maine, and originally hails from South Carolina. Dr. Forrest has known Susan since her graduate school assistantship at the University of South Carolina, where she served as a supervisor and continues as a lifelong mentor. Dr. Forrest.
Susan, you've devoted yourself to higher education and the life of the mind for your entire career, working closely with students as a teacher and in various leadership positions in both student affairs and academic affairs, always with a love for music as a flautist. How are these experiences shaping your leadership style in this position as president of NHTI, and how will they, as you lead moving forward?
First of all, thank you, Cynthia, and many thanks to all of my family, friends, and colleagues who traveled here today to be what is a very special day for me and for NHTI. Cynthia, I've always cherished the support that you and others have provided me as a mentor and my friend since I began this journey in administration in higher education, and I will be forever grateful. It has been a long road from those graduate assistantship days as a resident director at the University of South Carolina, and I have to add, the residence hall I was put in, called Bates House, made Animal House look like a convent. So there have been many challenges along the way, and I kid you not, and she can verify that. Tough lessons, some of you are all too familiar. Yet I'm thankful for all of them. Every step of the journey has instilled in me many of the values that we as a community aspire to instill in our students. The values of integrity, responsibility, perseverance, tolerance of ambiguity, and appreciation for diversity. These values, even those which create dissonance at times, have given me a stronger sense of my own strengths and weaknesses. And perhaps more importantly, these experiences have revealed to me that a leader's greatest skill is not just being a problem solver, but the conduit that brings together the collective strengths of its many talented faculty and staff to solve the problems together. My days as a flutist gave me an appreciation for the beauty of the arts, the attribute of discipline, and the fine art of listening. As is true for all of us in our NHTI community, music has taught me that the orchestra creates as a whole vastly superior more than what a single musician can do. Thank you, Cynthia.
Next, representing our college staff, I call Cassandra Hefts, Administrative Assistant to the Academic Affairs Department at NHTI.
The employees of NHTI are vital to our success and to the success of our student. Susan, during your first year, you have shown us that you're more than just our president, you're our colleague. We have asked a lot of you. We have asked you to help us strengthen, unify our community, and every request you have jumped in and helped and participated. Looking forward, how can we expect our campus to come stronger and more unified under your leadership.
Cassandra, what I've learned for many years is every fall is like a new beginning on every college campus. Faculty return, students return, the campus is fresh and clean and ready for a new start with a clean slate. Yet that clean slate did not clean itself. The shiny hallway floors didn't wax and buff themselves. Those software upgrades in a computer lab didn't drop down from the cloud. Those students didn't just appear out of nowhere. Orientation programs simply just did not happen. And resident staff do more than just simply hand out keys. And there's a tremendous amount of staff time and energy that goes into preparing a campus for the flurry of activity that happens at the beginning of each semester. I think many people would be amazed at the level of work that takes place on a campus during spring break, the holiday recess, and especially those all too short New Hampshire summer months. I believe that for students to experience the fullness of college life available to them here, we must have a campus that understands and appreciates the role that each of us plays in the holistic development of each and every student, both in and outside of the classroom, because all of us are teachers, all of us are learners. Thank you, Cassie.
Next, representing all New Hampshire community colleges, our Chancellor, Dr. Ross Cattell.
Susan, you know that New Hampshire's community colleges play a critical role in the state of New Hampshire, such as our 65 by 25 initiative, which is designed to ensure that 65% of adults in New Hampshire have a college credential by the year 2025. And you know that NHTI is a key player within the community college system. Will your leadership at NHTI continue to demonstrate your commitment to the people of New Hampshire through your support of the community college's statewide mission?
Ross, I recognize that NHTA plays an important role in the overarching picture of higher education in New Hampshire, which is why we are so dedicated to nurturing partnerships with our fellow four-year institutions, university partners, high schools, and our elected officials. We all know that there are many challenges to the goals established by the community college system of New Hampshire, such as the 65 by 25 initiative. Since I have taken on the role of president, my fellow presidents at our sister community colleges have been gracious and supportive in weaving me into our shared mission and vision. And I am committed to working with them collaboratively to work to achieve these goals for all of our students. Collectively, we can have a long-term positive effect on the state's economy and quality of life for our residents so that the future generations have the opportunity to improve on the foundation that they inherited.
Thank you.
And now, representing our students at NHTI, Dan Minnick, President of the NHTI Student Senate.
During my service on Student Senate, I often hear, and I quote, "It's all about the students." How will you ensure that as the college moves forward, under your leadership, the students will remain the center of the college's focus?
Dan, students are at the core of everything every one of us do at NHTI. Faculty, staff, and administrators have dedicated entire careers to being part of what students achieve. But let me also answer your question by telling a brief story. Last spring, I spent a good bit of time wandering over to the athletic fields after work to watch Link's team games, particularly softball, since they had a fantastic season. Over time, some of the parents watching their students compete had come to recognize my face in the crowd, although not really knowing who I was, or who I still am. Finally, one day, one of the parents who I had seen several times turned to me and beamed while she pointed out to one of the players and said proudly, "That's my daughter." Then she paused and asked, "Which one is yours?" I paused, and then with a great big smile, I gestured to the entire field, and I said, "They are all mine, and I take responsibility for all of them." And then she looked at me very quizzically. And then I explained I was the president, and so it all made sense at that point in time. But what is important for me to express is that from my careful and caring observation over the past 14 months, the faculty and staff at NHTI are strongly committed to academic success of students. I see people going above and beyond and putting their hearts and souls not only into their jobs, but in many volunteer activities and just plain acts of kindness for students that further help students fit in, get connected, and persist. That is the type of community I will continue to foster at NHTI for our students.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now representing our alumni, Sean Riley, paramedic emergency medicine, class of 1990, and now Deputy Chief of the Laconia Fire Department.
Thank you. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you to Dr. Dunton for taking the helm of NHTI. This is an institution that has been a major part of my life for my entire life. When I first came here, I was 19 years old. In 1988, I was wet behind the ears, and it was only through the tough love of my professors, such as Nancy Brubaker sitting up there, that I was able to graduate. Over the years, as I've progressed in my career and traveled around the state of New Hampshire, I've met many alumni from NHTI. They've become leaders in business, in finance, in education, in healthcare. They've become leaders in their communities. We, the alumni, are in essence part of the college's legacy. How will you continue to honor that legacy and ensure that your alumni remain a vital resource to the college and to the future students?
Sean, I've learned we are very fortunate to have so many alumni who have gone on to become productive citizens, proud parents, and leaders in their communities. I think it is interesting that a recent survey revealed that not only do NHTI alumni excellent wages, living wages, but more than 2/3 of them reported that they find that their work makes the world a better place. I think that is why so many NHTI alumni remain connected to the college in some way or another. They find their time here very meaningful, and they find giving back to the college very meaningful as well. As advisory board members, adjunct faculty, coaches, volunteers for fundraising events, and in so many ways, our graduates continue to support the college and our current students. Sean, when you were here, you were a resident assistant, a challenging peer leadership role for a student, as we discussed. Now you've gone on to become a figurehead in your community, and yet find time to be on the advisory board for the college's paramedic emergency medicine program. I think that as long as we make powerful sets of teachable moments for students and then provide alumni opportunities to stay connected and to give back in meaningful ways, we will continue to have alumni who want to continue to be a part of the NHTI community.
Thank you.
And now from the business community, Timothy Sink, President, Greater Concord Chamber of Commerce.
Susan, as I'm sure you're very well aware, the business community relies heavily on institutions of higher learning, such as NHTI, to ensure that there is a quality, well-educated, well-trained workforce. So my question is, what will you do to ensure that NHTI continues to carry on that critical role in this community?
Tim, NHTI was founded with a specific purpose of giving returning veterans an opportunity to improve their prospects for gainful employment. And many of the programs that have been added over the years have responded to specific employment needs in our community, from engineers and nurses to dental hygienists and early childhood teachers, and most recently for IT professionals and advanced manufacturing technicians and veterans counselors. We recognize that we are an important cog in the state's economy, and we will continue to respond to the needs of our citizens and the businesses that create employment opportunities for them. And lastly, I will add, it's just been a joy that you asked and that I have been able to serve on the Chamber Board of Directors, because at the meetings, he usually makes sure he refers to us as his boss.
And we are equally grateful to have you on board. Thank you, Susan.
And now, representing industry and the community at large, a longtime member and current chair of our NHTI Advisory Board, Helmut Koch.
No, this is not the whole speech. Susan, the New Hampshire, the NHTI Advisory Board is a statutory requirement of the college. But as you have quickly learned, its members are as dedicated to the mission and success of the college and its students as your staff and faculty. Will you be open to input and, may I say, words of wisdom that this group of advocates shares with you, even when it challenges the college's status quo?
Or even rock the boat.
I would never do that.
So why am I so surprised you are asking this question? I know you've been associated with the college for many years as a trusted advisor and a contributor in so many ways. Collectively, the advisory board has a breadth of experience from banking and city government to nonprofits and manufacturing, from secondary education to high-tech and healthcare. We value and often need outside perspectives to make sure we have not become stagnant in our thinking or viewpoints. And you bring us criticism in a constructive way to ensure we are being objective. I am grateful we have such people to lean on for advice and support, especially those of you with such a long and rich history with NHTI. And I am also very grateful and thankful for the strong and candid relationship you and I have built in our first year. Thank you, Hal.
Thank you, Susan.
Our final call of service comes from a representative of the faculty, Dr. Alan Lindsay, chair of the NHTI English Department.
Susan, you have shown in your brief time here that you understand what all faculty know and what all faculty dedicate themselves to, that a college education is not just job training, that it's not about fixing a person to become part of a machine. Education is about enhancing human potential in all ways, fostering the growth of fuller, more enlightened individuals and citizens. How will you help the faculty maintain a strong and effective voice in any decisions that pertain to what we teach and how we teach it?
Alan, you certainly offer a significant challenge with this last question. Acknowledging that students will not only be workers, but also citizens, family members, consumers, and lifelong learners in a democratic society is at the very heart of education. We know that our students will become much more than just a set of skills and a credential. To that end, I will continue to foster a culture that honors the whole faculty and the role they play in balancing and understanding of the intellectual, cultural, aesthetic, economic, and social dimensions of the world we live in. Through the inclusion of faculty across our governance structures, and through the central role that faculty play in academic-focused governance of the college, the curriculum committee, academic standards, the accreditation process, enrollment and retention, and others, we commit ourselves to put putting faculty at the forefront of ensuring that our students achieve the outcomes of our educated person philosophy. You know this is to be true when you come to a college with a 50-year history of success and a recent #1 rankings by the Brookings Institution to back it up. Faculty voices will continue to be effective and strong by staying current in your disciplines as well as in the scholarship of teaching, and to be committed to the success of every student. To this, I pledge my fullest support.
Thank you very much.
So now comes the moment when we, the NHTI community, officially install Susan B. Dunton as our 5th president and formally endow her with the powers and responsibilities of her office. 3 individuals will represent the college community in this moment: Professor Joanne Sherbert, Campus Safety Assistant Director Jason Bishop, and our Student Senate President Dan Minnick, along with Chancellor Roskatell.
Susan Dunton, we hereby present you with the NHTI Presidential Chain of Office.
The chain incorporates NHTI's official seal, suspended with the names of all 4 past presidents and their dates of office. With our motto, we are all teachers, we are all learners.
The chain is yours only for the duration of your time in office. You will pass it on to a successor when your own name becomes another link in the chain.
May it bind you to NHTI's past and to its future.
Susan, the legal authority for you to lead NHTI comes from the Chancellor's office and from the Board of Trustees.
But your moral authority and much of your actual ability to lead will always arise from the people you are leading.
We trust you and we believe in your vision.
Lead us forward into the future.
What an incredible honor to wear this presidential chain of office, a chain that also honors the dedication and service of President George Strout, President Dr. Larrabee, President Bill Simonson, and President Lynn Kilchenstein. As I have said to so many NHTI faculty and staff, I am so thankful for the unconditional support and respect you have entrusted in me. You have amazed me by your commitment and love for NHTI students, your contribution to this college's rich history, and its honorable stature in Concord and across the state of New Hampshire. I look forward to the work we will do in concert with one another as we compose NHTI's next 50 years. Thank you very much.
So we have with us someone here tonight that many of you probably recognize. He spent a long time at NHTI. Dr. William Simonson spent virtually his entire career at NHTI in New Hampshire's community colleges, serving as president of NHTI from 1996 to 2003, and we thought it would be appropriate for him to offer a few final thoughts.
Thanks, Alan. Gosh, I love coming back here. Because what strikes me is the organic nature of this institution.
students who become faculty, faculty who become administrators, students who become board members, and people who serve on boards and come back and help us. And it's truly great to see it all. As you have just heard, I began here in 1965 as a founding faculty member. And even tonight, I see one of my first students, Richard Heath, who is now a board member, and apparently one of my last students, Joanne Sherbert, who I had in an evening class in the late 90s just before I became president, or early 90s just before I became president. At our dedication in 1965, there was a poem that was read called A Thought that was anonymous as far as I can tell. It was read at the dedication in 1965. It was also read at Lynn Kilchenstein's inauguration, and President Dunton thought it would be appropriate if I read it tonight. And I'm afraid the next time I'm going to have to pass this on or on to someone else, because hopefully she's here 20 years, and I doubt I'll be reading a poem at that point. But the theme of this still is called A Thought. I believe in tomorrow because it is unspoiled. I have not, nor has anyone yet written on it with the grimy finger of folly or selfishness or sin. No wars have been fought in tomorrow. No lie has been told or dishonest deed done. No man has treacherously failed a friend in tomorrow. Tomorrow is one clean, beautiful day, the day on which dreams come true, on which the impossible things will yet be done, on which I have the nerve and the will to be and to do that which was too much for me in the grim battle of today. I believe in tomorrow. Now, this poem I've always liked. Community colleges are the embodiment of an optimistic belief in tomorrow. Our college community unites in creating the opportunity for a better life for the people at our college, the people who live in our community, and the citizens of our state. I extend my best wishes to Susan and the college, to all those who are entrusted with the responsibility of ensuring its success. And may we look forward to tomorrow and the next 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Just a quick note before we end our ceremony. I want to thank the people on our inauguration committee, Cassandra Huffs, Joanne Sherbert, Alan Lindsay, and Doug Schwartz, who put all this together tonight. Big hand of applause for them. Susan, it's a pleasure to have you as our leader here. I say that for all of us. And having said that, we'd like you all to join us for a less formal reception in the Student Center. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Ross, okay. Pleasure. Sounds like you and Susan have a great bond. Really yeah, good. I can tell. That's always fun. Lovely to meet you.
Thanks. We met you, President Arbella, because he's here.
Yeah, I met him. I met him at that something.
Well, I didn't realize. Hey, yeah. So they have to pay attention.
So the gentleman is right here.
Yeah, I live in. Oh yeah, I live over